Caleb Crouch, and you're in the short go. Are you ever guilty of asking dumb questions? I am. I think of this thought. Many of the questions that I would consider dumb are ones that I have the answer for or are pretty useless. So I ask them, or you ask them, and you really didn't think before you ask because you can figure it out. I've got a brother. Sometimes when I call, because before I call, if I would think it out, I probably could do what he's going to tell me to do because I know what he's going to tell me to do. And usually it has to do with mechanics. And it's not because he makes me feel dumb, but I can figure out the answer. Nicodemus was a religious man. And a lot of the religious men in Jesus' day were challenging him and asking dumb questions. They were trying to stump him. They were trying to show that they were more smart. They were trying to prove something that wasn't there. They were trying to make up. They were trying to create a problem where there wasn't a problem. Some of those kind of people are what I would typically find or assume that they were asking dumb questions. But Nicodemus was a different guy. He showed up at the evening, and one thing was he had a position. He was a religious leader and influence in that day and in that world. And so at night he had to go and find Jesus. Of course, Jesus knew that he was hungry. And he asked this question. They had some interaction. You could find it, John 3, verse 4. He says, how can a man be born when he's old? Well, for me, I'd see that and say, figure it out, bro. Like, watch, And of course, now I could say that and it'd seem dumb because I understand the whole message and why Jesus came and what he did and who he was, one last lamb, the mediator. He rose again. There's so much power. He's the source of salvation. And in other words, I feel like he was saying, how can a man be born again? That's a powerful question. But the beginning, if I would assume that he was challenging and being ignorant or just wanting to disprove or make it complicated, to me, I would have said, that's just a dumb question. That isn't. In other words, but often we're guilty of asking dumb questions, and all of us are. And yet also when we receive those, are we irritable? Jesus would deal with them, and he'd stump the person, challenge him, and he'd also teach those around. He had a contagious spirit. This is what Nicodemus found, and he wanted what Christ had. What's beautiful, Jesus had salvation he could offer. He could offer a healing touch. He could change. He could let Nicodemus know what it meant to be born again. I guess where I'm at is no question if it's truly sincere, if it's truly searching before the Almighty, is dumb. Now, there are some things that just need a little common sense. You need to pause, you need to think before you ask. But if you're sincerely going before God, you open his word and say, Lord, please show me your will. I can assure you, I can promise you that he knows your heart. He knows your motive. And if you're looking for answers, no question is dumb if it's sincere and you're hungry and you're willing to read, willing to listen, and willing to obey. Don't ask dumb questions, but also don't be irritable if someone asks you a dumb question.